All right, so y'all know I've been rocking with Mikolo for a minute, and over here I got the Mikolo Anubis 1.0, the original Mikolo Anubis. Well, they've upgraded, and they came out with a new version. And over here, I got the new Mikolo Anubis 2.0 Elite. And I'm just gonna go over the differences with y'all real quick, because I know you've seen the differences that they've listed, but I got a couple of extra ones, and I wanna show y'all exactly what makes them different, all right? Here it is. First thing is that you now have a place for these spotter arms that are dedicated to the rack. So back here, they put this crossbar back here, okay? And this crossbar used to be a dumbbell storage bar, okay? I'll show you over here on the Anubis 1.0. So you see over here on the Anubis 1.0, you got a rack for all of your, for 5 dumbbells. And it was always a little weird because you had this 5 dumbbell situation, so you had this open one, and that was a little weird. Now at first, when I really liked that because I don't have a place for my 55s and 60-pound dumbbells, but this is actually well thought out, y'all. This is better. So what you wind up doing is, let me go ahead and take this off real quick and show you guys what you can do now, all right? So now, instead of having to put these in the corner somewhere and find a space for them, you just bring them over here, put them into the little crossbar, and now you have some built-in storage, all right? Let me show you where my old ones were. So, you know, you just had to lay them in the corner somewhere, and you know, you didn't really have a space for them, and that was an issue. I admit, you know, I like that dumbbell rack, but the truth of the matter is you really should have your own place for that, right? I don't feel like it's up to them to provide that for you, because they should have provided for us. So this is definitely a better option, and I'm happy to have it. So that's the first big change is that you get that crossbar at the back of the rack to put both your spotter arms, and also you could put your J-cups up there too. Speaking of J-cups, another thing that they changed is the J-cups now have little safeties so that your J-cup won't move around. You can lock it in and it's locked in place, all right? Small change, but a nice change, all right? Something that I think a lot of people are going to appreciate when, you know, especially when it comes to this, the third change. And what this is, you also saw this originally on the new Mikolo M4, okay? Which is this, all right? If you haven't seen the video for the Mikolo M4 2.0 Elite, click that link up there and you could check that out. But that's where we first saw this 3-in-1. What this 3-in-1 is, it's a step. So if you needed to step up to do your pull-ups, you can step up on it. And you can also use it to put your legs underneath when you want to do your, you know, your cable pull downs. And then you can adjust it low to put it down here when you want to do, when you want to do low cable rows. Now, I showed you all that on the Mikolo M4, but I'm going to show you here on this big honking one, which is on the Anubis. As you can see, it's a lot bigger. It's got a ton of foam at the bottom, and it does have this little pull out that keeps it, like right now you see it's locked in, right? But if I take this little piece out at the bottom, get out of there. Now you see it's not as stable. So they put these in there, and I like this one a lot better than the one that's on the Mikolo M4, because it's got that little pull button, and it might make some people feel like, is it gonna fall if I stand on it? Well, now this Anubis has this big robust 1-inch, you know, like piece of metal that you could probably knock somebody out with to help hold you in. Now, that's another change that they added to the Mikolo Anubis 2.0 Elite. But what they got rid of is that telescope that's on the Mikolo Anubis 1.0. Now, that telescope is something that, as many of you know, I think, the creator of, which is where you could pull it up, pull it out, And this is a nice piece because it allows you to get the distance you need for things like low cable rows, where a lot of these cages, when it's only like a 14-inch distance between the cage and where this starts at, you can't always get the amount of full range motion that you need when you think about a low cable footplate like this. They took it off. I miss it. I wish they could have maybe left it on and added that other piece, but hey, you know, the cost got to be a part of why they do stuff like this, and that's one of the cost cutting things that they did, but I'm gonna miss it. Let me go ahead and back over here now. And again, with all these little guys like we talked about, you can always, you know, you can also store those on the back rack back there. You don't need to see that, but I'm throwing it back there and I can store that back there. And then whenever I want to raise this one up, I just pull it out, put it into one of the 1-inch holes that are on the front of this cage, put the safety back in there, and then, you know, I can adjust the top. Now, we talked about the 1-inch holes that I just installed this into. One of the other big differences between the Anubis 2.0 and the Anubis 1.0 is that now you have 1-inch holes with 2-inch spacing on all 4 sides, making this cage modular and for all equipment, for most equipment from other manufacturers, okay? Because we used to be locked into accessories only from Mikolo because you had those small holes on the side. But now you got these big holes all the way around, and you can add things like them jammer arms that I love so much on a Mikolo P5R. And you best believe I'm gonna be adding some of these boys to my Mikolo Anubis 2.0, baby. So let me just show y'all real quick though what the difference is, so you can see, since I got both machines here. You see here, I got a very small hole, and then over here on the side, I got the 1-inch hole with the 2-inch hole spacing. And you know, that's a big change that you guys may be overlooking when you first buy a cage. You might think that that's not a big deal, but when you want to start adding some of the accessories that Mikolo may not be making yet, that's going to give you an opportunity to do it. Now, another big change that is on this cage that a lot of people, a lot of my big gorilla lifting mugs with all the strength are going to love, is that you're going from a 154-pound weight stack on the Mikolo Anubis 1.0 to 175-pound weight stack edition on the Mikolo Anubis 2.0. And that's a big difference that I think you guys are gonna like a lot. Now, on the Mikolo Anubis 1.0, we had, like I said before, 154 pounds, but we also had spotter arms that you pushed into the side of the cage like this. Now, one of the issues with that is that when you did that, when you went to do a pull on this machine, a lot of times it's not figures, it's not doing it right now. Let me put it up one and see. Well, it's not doing it, but if you saw my other video, let me see if it does it on this side real quick. Because this is important. It is something that was somewhat of an issue. That one's gonna hit it on this cage. And it's a miracle that it's not doing it right now. Okay, sorry about that, G Cook. So you see, because it's imbalanced, right? It's leaning to one side over here. It created a situation where when you went to do a rep and you came down, boom, you see how it's hitting it? It would get stuck sometime. And that was a problem. And most of the time when we had adders like this, the adders always went to the top of the top weight stack. And excuse me for the noise, Mikolo has fixed that in the new Mikolo Anubis 2.0 by giving you these 5-pound adders that actually go onto the top weight plate. So they look like this. That's 5 pounds. All you do is take it, drop it on, boom. Now, even when I have no weight or a little bit of weight, it's gonna come down right in the middle, and you never have to worry about that issue anymore, all right? So that's another big change to the Mikolo Anubis 2.0. Now, I think I've covered each one of the changes except for one that is cosmetic, all right? So we talked about the back rack. We talked about getting the new 3-in-1, and we talked about the 1-inch hose being different. We talked about the weight being different, being additional weight, and we talked about the adder. So I think I got us covered on everything. And also we get the beautiful fire red uprights, okay? And we talked about the fact that we got 1-inch hose all the way around. I'll show you the cosmetic change that they haven't mentioned. And it's a small change, but you see over here, we had that nice aluminum plate with the Mikolo branding. That's no longer on the Mikolo Anubis 2.0. Now, that is most everything that has changed. And, you know, I'm going to be doing a full review of the Mikolo Anubis 2.0. But if you're curious of what these machines look like and you haven't seen my first review, check out the link up there, and that'll show you a lot about this machine because they are pretty much identical aside from the changes that I just told you about. But I'm still going to give this his glory and his cookies by doing a full review on it in the next couple of days as soon as I get a little bit of time to, you know, play with it and get some people on it, because y'all know I like to have a lot of B-roll of people using this stuff. And you know, sometimes tiny things come up that we haven't seen. Now, I feel like one did earlier. Actually, it did. I ain't gonna talk about it though. There is some, the changes that they have made have created some differences, and we'll talk about those. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and you wanna see more content like this, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and also hit that alert button so you see the video when it comes out. Until next time, stay blessed, stay motivated, and stay fit. Love and peace, everybody. Ow.